Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 9. We're over here in the Wastelands and it's time for another building episode. So today we are actually going to be going through and doing some more work on the Wastelands and doing that work with all of the cool bits and pieces that we picked up in the last episode. Now for those of you who didn't see the last episode was amazing for us. We went through the Treasure Island, picked up a whole bunch of stuff. This is like a small part of all of the things we picked up. And it's actually given me a few ideas for around here. So the first thing that's happening is that the staircase is getting rusted out. That's basically kind of the idea here, is to put in a little like rust patch, I reckon, with the staircase. Now I want to also pull out a couple around here as well and place in a few more, just so we get a nice rusted look to this whole build. And I'm not really sure how this is going to look, but we'll see. I just realized that this being a Wastelands, things should never be kind of nice and neat and just kind of ready to go. So we had to do something about that and give it a bit of a rusted feel. So yeah, there we go. Now we've got a bit of a rusted feel going on. So out over here, obviously, we still have everything we've had in here before. I've got a few bits and pieces like the airship wreckage and things that are going to be scattered down around in there. But also over in the Boneyard and over in the destroyed little castle thing that we set up a little while ago now. Obviously, this is going to be perfect for putting down a couple of these like airship wreckages and things, because of course there is supposed to be a whole bunch of wood around here that was supposed to be destroyed in the last bit. And yeah, so there we go. That's going to be where all of this goes. Now, the other thing is, and I don't think I have too many of them with me right now, but I got a whole bunch of barrels in the last episode as well. I don't think I really showed that on camera. I showed afterwards, but I didn't show picking them all up. So I'm going to go through and use all of those, and I had an idea to do a bit of a smuggler's den. Now the only thing that's kind of I'm still trying to work out is how you get into the smuggler's den right now, because I'm envisaging something almost like the smuggler's den from the Pirates of the Caribbean type movies. There's something like old and dilapidated and just abandoned basically, but still like full of barrels and crates and chests and shelves and all sorts of interesting, wonderful, weird things. So we're gonna have to go through and figure out exactly how we go ahead and do that. Obviously, I've still got a few bits and pieces stored away in chests over here. I'm just going to go through and drop all of this stuff off. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at fixing up some of the things we've done in the past, and then also putting down some stuff to start work on the smugglers area. Now, one of the things I am pretty seriously considering doing is flying to start with. But once we get this island done, so the big thing here that I'm going to need to start doing now is collecting a whole bunch of gravel. So I might even make a post on the forums and ask people for any gravel that they have, just because it's kind of getting to the point I want to fill out this entire landscape with gravel and just get that bit done, because once that bit is done, things are going to be a little bit easier for me and a little bit nicer for me, and this place will start looking a little bit more like an actual adventure rather than kind of a hodgepodge of different bits and pieces. So yeah, once we've done that and once this island is finished, I want to keep going with the Wastelands, because obviously a biome doesn't just have one end location. A biome has multiple end locations. So we're going to finish this guy off, and then I think we're going to go ahead and rebuild something that I built in the past, and that is going to be a giant volcano. So I'm going to probably build this out of inkstone. Get a bit of blood iron and bloodstone in the mix to make lava and things. Obviously, lava is going to play a pretty big part, actually, in all of the Wastelands builds that I end up doing. So yeah, that is one idea. The other idea is potentially to go back and start work on the city again, now that there's going to be no more wipes, or at least potentially no more wipes, as in I can save things through to the next alpha. I really would like to go back and touch on the city again, start building that back up from the baseline, go ahead and build some rail sections and all of that good stuff like we did in the last alpha or an alpha before that. But yeah, it's one of those things that is definitely something I want to get back to at some point. Anyway, right now I need to go through and collect up a whole bunch more stuff here, bring it all over, and then we can start adding stuff down to the Boneyard and going on in through the chasm, adding a few more details. I think this place is getting pretty close to being completely done though, so we might only have a few extra details to go in here. Everything else will probably go in the boneyard and in this guy, which I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this one yet. Doesn't actually have a landmark name right now. If you have a good landmark name for this destroyed tower, yeah, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, it may just end up being called the destroyed tower. But we'll see. We'll see how all of that stuff goes. Anyway, let's keep cracking on, move all the stuff that we need to over here, and start on the episode. So, thanks to that treasure island, I've now made a little bit more progress on the boneyard. As you can see, we've got a lot more bones and things going on around here, which is great news. Definitely need more bones in a boneyard. That is always going to be true. Even if I fill up all of the spaces up the top here, we can still fill up all of the spots in underneath. So yeah, we've got lots and lots of bones to stick around the place, although I am starting to run out already. I did have about 4 stacks of each of these, and we're now down to basically 1 stack of each as far as I can tell. 1 and a bit stacks of each, there you go, because these things only stack up to 10, which is kind of annoying, to be perfectly honest. It would be nice if they stacked a little higher, but at the same time, you don't usually get access to these. So I guess they can really stack to whatever they like, because it doesn't really matter all that much. Probably end up going through and buying a few more of these guys as well, just so I've got a little bit more to place around the place. That was the other thing I wanted to do this episode. I wanted to extend this guy out and down a bit, because at the moment it's a bit of a sharp drop off, so I want to kind of extend that out a little bit further. We'll place a few more bones down around here, and then I think we'll leave this guy alone. Obviously after we've got that extension done. So down in through here, we'll probably flick a few more bones down on the way through, just because that's going to look nice. So down in here, I'm actually going to, I'm not going to take my helmet off because otherwise you won't be able to see in here. So I've actually added the chest that needs to be down the bottom here, because that needs to be there. We're always going to have some form of chest or reward in any little location that we've got around the place. So we're just going to throw a few more bones down around here, make this look a little bit better. And yeah, so this is almost the final product here, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I would love to go through and do a full, like, rabbit warren set of caves at some point, but that is not the time, or today is not the time to do that, and this is not the place to do this either, because this is actually a location, or like a side quest thing. So you don't really want to be forcing people to go through a huge long set of caves just to get to a single chest right down at the end. I think this is a good length for the moment at any rate. Now I've also got a few cave crystals we're going to flood around the place here as well. This does mean that I am actually verging on 3 colors or 4 colors of cave crystals, which is technically not accurate. A biome usually only has 3. But at the same time, I hadn't been able to get hold of the brown crystals before, and I definitely want the brown crystals in here more than I want any of the other crystals in here. So we're going to fix this guy up and make sure we've got nice brown crystals kind of all over the place. I might throw a couple on the ceiling as well, and 1 up here. Just kind of going a little bit nuts with all of this stuff, just basically because I can. There's no real other reason to be doing all of this. Just trying to make this look as good as I can make it at the end of the day here. So yeah, not too bad at all. Very, very full now. Starting to look a lot better. I might end up having to build an extra like rib cage or bone structure setup, because this is very, very big in comparison to everything else that's around it. I might end up kind of extending this bone yard out and doing another one of these, but kind of maybe up the other way, I guess. So it would be almost like the crash yards, where one of the ships or rib cages in this case is the one you want to go for, and everything else is just superfluous and just kind of fluff and filler, as it were. So yeah, there we go. This is coming along well. I'm quite liking how this is going. It looks a lot better with all of these bones scattered around. We're going to throw a few more down over here, because I just realized that I've been kind of a little bit cautious, I guess is the word, around the edge of this guy, and it's making it look like a dead spot. We don't want that at all. So yeah, there we go. Oh, and now I've run out of that type of bones, so probably a good spot here. I'm going to go grab some more gravel and some more sand, some more dirt and stuff. I'm going to extend this pathway out a little bit further, and we're also going to work on the roof in here, because the roof in here is kind of terrible right now. Alright, here we go. So I'm now working on the ceiling around here. Now, as you can see, it's already kind of messed up. And basically the way I've done this is I've got two hotbar slots here. One is full of gravel and one is full of dirt. And I'm basically just kind of like clicking and dragging my hands around and seeing where these things end up. Because it ends up with some interesting looking patterns and a very nice looking ceiling in my opinion. So that's what we're aiming for here. We're going to just fill in some of the holes that I've made while putting this stuff around the place. And I also need to kind of do the same thing over here. Just a little bit to kind of even this guy off. Make it look a little bit better. Because of course I was standing in the middle of the entrance down there, which meant that some areas got kind of disproportionately hit. So I needed to even that out a little bit, make it look a little bit more kind of random and unplanned, as it were. So that's the thing, this is supposed to be a natural looking building, so randomness is the name of the game almost in this case. So I think that's pretty good. Having the double palette almost, having the dirt and the gravel makes it just kind of chop up and look a little bit better. I also pulled the black crystals and the brown crystals from the top there, because as you can see they would have got completely and totally covered had I left them where they were, and also wasn't quite happy with where they were. So we're gonna swap those up, change that up, make it look just a little bit different. Here we go. That is not too bad for a cave, I don't think. We're actually gonna add just a little bit of something here, I think. Kind of smooth that and even that back out just a little bit. There we go. Nice. I like that a lot. Let's jam that there. There we go. So there we go. This is that done. I think the next thing we need to do is just fix this entranceway, and then this part of this build is actually done. This side quest, as it were, is ready to go. I also come in here and added a few of these like rock piles or whatever it is that they're called. Just scattered a few of those around just for a bit of intrigue and just something a little bit different around the place, other than just having the bones everywhere. So yeah, I think, like I said, now it's time to extend this guy out and move on from here. So I think the way to do that is we're just going to tear this completely out first. Whatever survives will stay in, and then everything else will become new. Alright, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and extend this place out a little bit. We'll have a look at it all after that. Awesome! So this feels a little bit better. It's just a little bit steeper. It's not too much steeper. Sorry, it's more extended. It is less steep, whichever way around that works. So yeah, on one side it does extend further into the cave. On the other side it kind of stays pretty much where it was, but I think that's good. It actually kind of gives it a little bit more character, as it were. So realistically this probably should actually extend down a little bit further to make it a bit more of a real cave, or like a closer to an adventure cave. But I think for what I've got and the space constraints that I've got, because of course the other cave down there is sitting right on the lower limits of the world, I think this actually works out pretty well for everything and everyone concerned. So I think that's going to be that one done. I think the next thing I need to do actually is cover this place up with a bit of gravel, because of course you can kind of see that, and you can see it on the mini-map as well, and it's a nice big blue and red patch. So we might cover that bit up next, and then look at where we're going to place down the Smugglers Den. Oh, and also fill this guy out with a few extra little bits and pieces. I've already thrown a lantern in here just so I've got a little bit of light in here, but I want to, like I said, throw a few broken ship pieces down around there as well. So let's let's fix some of this stuff up and crack on with that. Okay, so there we go. Now that is the kind of build up at the back to prevent people from looking in underneath here and seeing this kind of mess of orange and blue that's going on. Obviously I have missed a few slight holes around here, but mostly they seem to be at the back, so that's not too bad on the whole, although it is kind of expected when a lot of these things, especially natural type things like this, I spend a lot of time just running around in the boots and just build it all up out of the boots and pretty much nothing else. So every now and again I will miss spots like that and end up with just random holes here, there and everywhere. Just need to hope that I actually end up managing to find all those holes. And as you can see, So we've put a lot of gravel out the back there, and that's meant that we are getting pretty close down to the ground again in terms of gravel supplies, which is just kind of a pain, and it's going to be something that keeps happening until I go out and just collect like 5 or 7 or 8 rucksacks worth of gravel, because that'll be enough, hopefully, to fill out the entirety of this build. So it's going to be a fair amount of gravel collecting done off camera at some point in the future. And then also in here, I've also come through and added in some kind of broken wood pieces around the place, so just a couple of broken boards and bits and pieces, just to kind of touch this guy up and finish him off, and just kind of sort that out and make that look all good and everything. Now what I need to do is I need to determine how I'm doing the Smugglers Den. So I had a bit of a quick thought about the Smugglers Den, and because I kind of want it a bit of a secret entrance and you kind of go through the top, I'm thinking that the crumbling earth blocks are going to be the entrance into the Smugglers Den. And then I have no idea how you're coming back out. I think you might have to come back out through a cave or something, which could be a little bit of an interesting idea, and it would actually mean having to build a system of caves on this island. But I mean, realistically, this island does need a full system of caves to be a proper adventure island. It just needs a system of caves, because there is not an adventure island I have ever been on that does not have a system of caves somewhere in it. So it's going to be something we need to build very shortly, actually. So I think what we're going to do, I need to find a good spot to put this. We've got 2 little things over there. We've got our main location starts all the way over there, and that location is over there. So maybe, see how far out I've got until the wall. So this is the wall here. I might end up building this out over this way somewhere, I think, just because that way we've kind of spread our locations out a little bit and made this feel like an actual proper adventure. And then we'll have to have caves somewhere, and maybe the caves come up over here potentially. So the caves will come up around here somewhere, and we'll have the actual settlers or the rum runners kind of hideout over here somewhere. So maybe that's what we'll call it. Maybe we'll call it a rum runners hideout here, and then we'll have a set of caves kind of down over there somewhere that kind of snake out towards the corner. But the rum runner's cave is just going to like head off that way, and then it will kind of become a little like spirally, curvy, one wide passage that ends up opening out into a cave, and then that cave you can use to come back out through the top. I think that's the way we're going to have to do this. I think that's going to be the way that everything is going to look best. So to start with, obviously I'm going to need to lay down some more gravel. I don't have all that much of it left, but we will lay down a little bit of gravel. I think we'll come a little higher, actually. I think I want to build it. No, maybe not. I'm still trying to work out exactly how hilly and things I want the terrain to be around here, because obviously the more hills I have, the higher I can build things and build locations and stuff and still have them look semi-decent and maybe sort of okay. But yeah, we'll probably... let's go down to about... I reckon we'll build it about here. I'm not sure exactly how high this is going to be compared to the rest of things. It does look a little bit higher, but that's okay. We can build up the rest of this stuff, and we'll see how we go. So here we go. I've made a little bit of a rough approximation as to what the landscape around here is going to look like. So we're going to have a bit of a hill range leading up and over down towards this guy. Now this guy is our crumbling blocks and just a couple of barrels. I'm honestly thinking about putting like a dead tree around here somewhere, just so that you can kind of mimic that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where you touch the tree and walk, 5 paces, 10 paces, hit the crumbling blocks, and go on through down. And there's now a staircase in under here as well. So the idea is to build up a kind of room and area in under here. Obviously, this one is definitely going to be very built up because it is supposed to be like a rum runner's storage room. So we're going to build it all out of earthstone blocks. Unfortunately, I am pretty much completely and totally out of earthstone blocks. So it's going to have to be put on hold for this episode. I'm probably going to have to come back to it next episode. Now, the idea is that we're going to come down here a little bit further and then going to build the rum runners thing all the way out this way. We might throw a couple of twists and turns in it. So thinking kind of a main storage area for barrels going this way, and then like another little, maybe a sleeping quarters out here or something, and then heading this way with some more crates or something, and then back into a bigger stockpile room full of barrels, and then out the end of that through a set of caves up to the surface somewhere over here. So it's going to be quite a long little secondary quest, but that is okay. It's not going to be quite as long as this guy, I don't think, just because this guy twists and turns back and forth a lot more. So there is actually a lot of space down in this guy, which is quite cool. Also, I've just realized that these beacons now give off little like twinkling effects, which I guess kind of helps the lava ideal a little bit. It almost looks like spit, like lava spittle coming off the lava, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I'm liking this lava effect even more here in SkySaga Alpha 9 than I did in the last alpha. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, going to I think the next thing I want to do is I want to test this thing out, and I want to see how the crumbling blocks go with those staircases underneath. So the plan is now going to be to publish this island, and we'll head over to the published version of the island and actually have a look at that guy and test that all out and see how that goes, and see how that all looks and feels and all that kind of stuff, because I want to try and make this feel like an adventure. So the way things go together and the way they actually kind of get shown to you is really important to me, and really important in how this island is set up. So we're going to try this out, and if this doesn't feel right, I've got a few other plans up my sleeve, but I think this is the best one. So hopefully this one actually looks alright. So we're going to quickly publish this island and check out the published version. Okay, here we go, public version of the island. So I think first up I want to head over to the boneyard and have a bit of a look around the boneyard, just as it currently stands, without being able to fly or say anything any other way. We'll just have a bit of a quick walk over there. Oh, I like it a lot. It looks really busy, but that is perfect. It's supposed to look this busy. It's supposed to be dead and full of bones. So that works out pretty well. This is looking pretty good, actually. That might need to be removed. Take one block off that, and it might be a little bit better. Just feels a little bit too small right now. And of course, because I am making a cave that is kind of short, I don't really want to call attention to that by having a very short section in here. But that's looking good. This is all looking pretty good, I think. I think we'll, yeah, definitely leave this guy alone. Just leave it as is. And of course, the chest down the bottom. I say as I'm jumping all the way back up to the top. Anyway. So yeah, that's not too bad. I think that place is getting pretty close to being done. Obviously, we need a little bit more gravel and brown sand and stuff to kind of keep filling this out and make it look alright. Also, check this guy out on the minimap. You can actually see the shatter lines that I've put in it. That's really cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, next up, of course, we're going to go over here and check out the start of the Rum Runner's Den. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to go up my makeshift hill, which will eventually become an actual hill, but it just, yeah, had to, whoa. I don't quite know how I survived that. I honestly thought I was going to fall off there. So here we go, coming over here, and we stand on these. Bam! Yes! Oh, that is awesome. I love that. I'm obviously going to have to fall off here and respawn. But yeah, that, like, the whole braking mechanism just looks really cool and feels really awesome as well as a way of, like, discovering something. That is, like, that's amazing. If there are any devs watching this, the crumbling blocks are your friends. Please, please, please put them into adventures and hide things under them or create locations out of them, because that was awesome. Like, this is just great. Like, being able to stand here and, like, that is so cool. I want that to actually be a thing that happens in adventures. It's just, that is actually magical. Like, that just feels great in terms of, like, actually experiencing something happening to the world around you because of you being there is just, it's so cool. I love it. All right, this is, yeah, we're definitely keeping this. Yes. So much fun. I love that. Yeah, that's staying. That is now part of our Rum Runner experience. I love that a lot. I am so happy that worked because, like I said, I do have a couple of other plans, but I know how those look and how those feel to a player coming through and having a look at things. And they work, but they don't have the same level of excitement and kind of exploration and like achievement for finding something. Like, that's kind of what I'm going for here. Like, I really want people to be able to come to this island and like actually feel like they've achieved something when they find stuff that I've hidden away. So, I mean, like, everybody's going to find that, for example, but some people aren't going to find the bedrooms that I've hidden away down over the other side here. Now, I need to get over to there. But obviously, people who have watched this video have seen where those things are and will find those pretty much no problem. But yeah, there's just going to be a few bits and pieces around the place where there are going to be people who come to this island and don't know about certain things. So they're going to find that first bedroom, but they may not find this bedroom, and they might just shoot on through and shoot on past. And I mean, I know that this is going to happen because Boomkin has done this already. Boomkin has been to this island and he has missed things like these bedrooms and bits and pieces. Admittedly, it wasn't quite as finished when he was last here, but that is perfectly okay. Yeah, you do miss things, you do miss little bits and pieces. And I really, actually, considering putting a doorway out the back here, because I mean, I do have a little pad out behind this thing that holds a few crafting elements and a few like mass storage devices and things. So might actually even end up putting a little room out behind the archery range. Just once again, as another little thing that people can come along and explore and have that feeling of achievement for finding. And I think that's kind of, yeah, where I'm trying to go with this, is having that feeling of achievement when you make it somewhere and get some stuff done in this world, because that's everything I'm going for right now, is trying to make it so that you can feel accomplished and achieved. And achieved is not a word, but well, it is a word, but not in this context. So yeah, like I said, it's just kind of a little bit of an insight into the philosophy behind my building style and the things that I've kind of gone through and done in this adventure. Although this is something a little curious. I might need to try and find a way of getting back out of here quicker and easier than going all the way back through. Although, having said that, going all the way back through does feel very much like an actual adventure, because of course, in a real adventure, you have to go all the way back through from the beginning. It's, well, from the end to the beginning. There's no other way out unless you hit F and teleport home or to the city or whatever, but then you're out of the world. So it's not really like you're ending up back at the start. You're just, yeah. Oh, there we go. For some reason I couldn't manage to get out of there. That was a little weird, but these things do happen. Anyway, there you go. That is that, and I am so happy about that guy over there. That has just worked out marvelously well. That is, I can't believe how well that worked out. That's great. Anyway, I think because the next piece is going to be me resource gathering, I have a lot of resource gathering to do. I've obviously got to go through and get all of the stone that I need to do the rum runners basement and hideout, and I also need to get a load more gravel, which is going to go on this island very, very soon, because I am, like I said, I'm really, really keen to finish this guy off and get this thing as a fully fledged adventure world. I may end up adding one extra resource or one extra location around here, but I'm not too sure yet. I have an idea, but I want to test it, and it may not be the best on this particular island. I might end up building a second island, a second Wastelands island, and adding that idea into it as either a main element or a secondary element. I'm not sure yet, but it is pretty cool, so I don't really want to swamp it out by adding it into this island and yeah, just adding it to the general everythingness that is this island. Anyway, like I said, I have a lot of resource gathering to do, so I should get off video and jump through some worlds and collect a whole bunch of stuff up so we can keep going on this guy in the next episode. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.